What's good, fam, and welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. So today, I have a great video for y'all talking about Pokemon's Lillie and Marnie trainers. So we're going to talk about some promos, some full art, some ultra rares, and I'm going to show you some cheaper variations. So if you want to look at the market, and I know some of these are incredibly expensive, and we've noticed that a lot of this manipulation from the Japanese side, where these cards shoot up, these same cards just like this shoot up in price, and it kind of bleeds over to the American market. And that's what's happening right now. And I think there's some cheaper alternatives, especially some that are out of print, like Sun and Moon base, where these cards have room to move. They have room to go up in value, and we're going to talk about that today. So if you can't afford the Pokemon Ultra Rare Lillie, number 151 from Ultra Prism, then there are some other great cards out there. And then we'll transition to Marnie a little bit later. And we know everyone's been tracking like Miriam, right? Miriam right now is the hotness in Japan. Everyone's trying to buy it on eBay. It's incredibly expensive. And Miriam does not have a huge role whatsoever. So a lot of people, Pokemon fans have been confused why Miriam's card is shooting up in value. And I think a lot of it has to do, of course, with the FOMO, the manipulation, and the card is just absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful card, but it's no different than these cards right here, right? Lillie and Marnie are well known. They are well-known characters, trainers, and they also have incredibly beautiful cards. The colors just pop. So the first one we're going to look at to go ahead and set the stage is the one right here, Ultra Prism's Lillie number 151 Ultra Rare. This is the one that everyone wants to get their hands on. A very, very expensive card, and also really, really expensive in Japanese. But right now, we're looking at the English side. The current holofoil price you see has gone up. It has gone up and up and up, all the way to $292. A damaged holofoil will run you about $120. And when we look down here, the last near mint holofoil sale on February 13th was $394.94. So this card will run you roughly $400 raw if you want to buy this card. Now, you also want to take a look at eBay. This card has room to move over time. I think this is a great card to have, but not cheap at all, right? And that's why we're going to look at some cheaper alternatives. Now, if you grade this card, and we can look at that later, but if you grade it, this can possibly be, what, $800 to $1,000, a very expensive card, but you also take the risk of not getting a 10 if you grade this card. So if you choose PSA, you could get an 8, you could get a 9, because we know that English is not typically printed with high quality, right? So Japanese tends to grade higher, often cases if you pull it from a pack, than an English set. So we want to go ahead and go back. I'm going to show you a cheaper alternative, and I think there's actually two right here. You have the Lillie's Full Force from Cosmic Eclipse, and you also have an ultra rare Lillie full art. And this one right here is from the Sun and Moon base set. So we'll go ahead and look at the Lillie's Full Force. This is another beautiful card, and it's only selling for $60. This is another really nice card that I would love to have. And you see near mints have sold for right around 60 bucks. Currently, they're asking $72 for a lightly played. I think cards like this definitely have room to move, because this is from Sun and Moon, which is no longer in print, right? So you can find a lot of these packs possibly throughout different boxes and tins and stuff like that. But of course, you have a lot of reprints that have happened, and you may not get great cards or great pulls from those items. So the further we get away from Sun and Moon, we already surpassed Sword and Shield. These cards have room to move. So if you're looking for a cheaper alternative, this will definitely be one of them from Cosmic Eclipse, and it's a really nice card. But the one I also want to focus on is the one right here. This one has just really great aesthetics. And this Lillie right here, the full art, is just a beautiful and stunning card, a really, really nice card. And the price point for it is pretty good, right? $37.24 for this card is really, really cheap. And you see right here, it did have a dip. It moved down and it moved up. And it's kind of volatile. It's moving up and moving down. But I think over time, this card will definitely eclipse $37. It will go up much higher than that. So if you can't afford, the one from Ultra Prism, then this is definitely a great pick right here for Lillie. I would definitely pick up this card right here. But moving on over to Marnie, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Marnie really quick. So Marnie, we have some really great promos and some ultra rares, which was from the Sword and Shield era. So the one that everybody is gunning for right here is the full art number 200. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the price. The price is not bad, especially in comparison to Lillie. You can get a near mint hollow full for 50 bucks. So this card is still very affordable. It's not as old, but it's a really nice card. So if you want to get this, you can pick up a few of these at a decent price still. So don't be afraid of 50 bucks. Now moving over, if you want a cheaper option, you have one right here. This is the Marnie Sword and Shield promo. I actually sent a few of these from the promo box into PSA. You can pick this up for right around 30 bucks. I think the box alone is like 60 bucks. But I can tell you right now, none of my Marnies graded a 10. They come in pretty poor condition. The centering is really bad when you pull them out of the box. And you get a few promos, right? You get the one right here, which is the 2021 Pokemon Sword and Shield Marnie Hollow Premium Tournament Collection. This one right here is a pretty nice card. You get the little signature. If I remember right, you actually get like 2 of those in the box, and then you get one of these. You get this card right here. So the box is 60 bucks, right? You can buy the card for 30, but if you send them in for grading, they're probably not going to be worth a lot unless you get a 10, because it was really, really hard to get a 10. I think I did get like 1 or 2 10s on these right here that I just showed you, but I didn't pull any 10s on a full art promo card. So that was pretty upsetting, but it is what it is, right? So I would go ahead and just pick a single online and see if you can find the best centering in the best condition that you can. And then leading into the last one I would like to talk about is the one right here, Marnie's Pride Full Art. One of the cheapest right now, but another stunning card. And it looks to be shooting up in value right now. And it makes sense. This is an incredibly cheap card right now. So near mint hollow full for $10.48. You can currently buy it near mint on here for $13.58 from Gamers and Geeks. And if you like Marnie, this is a card you can also buy for really cheap. So I think Marnie is at a good price right now. Sword and Shield just wrapping up. I think that this is the time to probably buy some of these cards before they really start taking off into the future. The Lillie's already up there, right? Really expensive. I would look at those alternatives like we talked about. And what we're going to do is take a look at this card as a PSA 10. That's what I want to do. So we're going to go back on eBay and we're going to try to look at some comps. And that's what I want to do really quickly. And we're going to look at sold listings. That's what we want to look at. We do not want to look at anything else. So right here, we see a PSA 10 sold for $152. So when we look back at the card, I would say I'm not sure if it's worth it, right? I'm not sure if it's worth it to grade the card at the moment. I mean, yeah, you could double your money once you pay for it and you get the card graded. But if you don't get a PSA 10, you're not going to be looking at much profit at all. So that is something to consider. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Lillie Full Art from Ultra Prism. And the reason why I want to do this, because I want to look at the price difference, right? Is it worth it to grade the card? This card is $400. And of course, what we're shooting for is a PSA 10. We're not sure if we're going to get that, but let's go ahead and take a look at sold listings and see what this card has sold for. So right now we have one listed, a PSA 9 is $700, incredibly expensive for a PSA 9. So you know this card is very, very pricey. When we try to look for a PSA 10, let me type that in so we can narrow down our results. And we have absolutely nothing. This has to be crazy. So let me go ahead and pull out some of the wording and see if we can find one. All right, so we did. So sometimes you just have to cut out some of the wording and you might find what you were looking for. So right here, we see on February 16th, a Sun and Moon Ultra Prism 151 Full Art Lillie sold for $1,277. So also what I want to do is we're going to try to look for a PSA 9 because the odds are, right, we may not get a PSA 10. We might get a PSA 9. So that's what you have to consider. I shoot for 10s, but I may end up pulling a PSA 9 or a PSA 8, and that's what you have to consider. So right now, this card is very, very risky because it's sold for $500 best offer accepted, and that is pretty much raw pricing. So if you pay the grading fee, you ship it outright, you may actually be under. You're not going to get your money back. So you're going to take a loss if you get this in a PSA 9. So you want to look at it like that with all the cards I showed you today. Pretty much anything that you do, you want to comp these cards. You want to see what they're worth. Is it PSA 8, PSA 9, PSA 10? And you have to consider, hey, do I want to take the chance? Do I want to take the risk? Do I want to buy this card right here for $400? Go ahead and grade it for like 20, 50 bucks. And do I want to pay the shipping costs, have it come back, and then I have to sell the card, I have to pay the shipping, I have to pay the fees to eBay or whatever else? You're going to be severely under. But if you get a PSA 10 and you bought this card for $394, I just showed you that this is a $1,200 card. So then at that point, you're getting a huge return. So there's a lot of risk involved. And I think it makes a lot more sense to buy cheaper cards right now, like Marnie's. If you comp those cards, being that they're so cheap, if you can pull $100, $200 in profit, it's a lot better than trying to buy $400 cards and potentially getting $1,000, and you don't get no cards back in a 10, right? You're probably pulling losses. So you have to bear that in mind and just think about that. So I hope y'all appreciated the video. Let me know which cards you are looking for right now. And there's a lot of great stuff in there. There's a lot of cards out there that people are not paying attention to. A lot of people are hyper focused on what the market and what these influencers and stuff are pushing. And these are not the only beautiful cards out there. There's a lot of great trainers out there. And there's a lot of ones that can move up in the future that have a lot of room to move. So I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in, and I'll see y'all later. Out.